this video, it is my thoughts about the very sad news that Steve Ditko, the Spider-Man co-creator and artist, has died. And just wow, this is really surprising news, and this is my thoughts on it, and I'm just gonna talk and don't have anything planned as I'm making this. And the news hit, and it just really took me back because it's my overall, I would think, possibly my favorite artist, and part of the reason is he made my favorite superhero, Spider-Man, you know. And it's not only that, he did a lot of other work. Not only did he make Doctor Strange, with Stan Lee helping out, he also made the sleek red and gold Iron Man armor, and it was modified a bit before becoming the classic Iron Man armor that you know, but all the elements were there. He streamlined it. The red and gold costume that was sleek for Iron Man, that became iconic. And he also did the Question, the Blue Beetle, the best version, the Ted Kord one. And not only that, he made so many villains. He made the leader from the Hulk line. That's probably the Hulk's main rival, because he also worked on the Hulk book. He did probably almost all the major Spider-Man villains that mattered, such as the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Electro, Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, the Lizard, and so many more. And he made so many supporting characters that have lasted in comics, that have been around, from J. Jonah Jameson, Flash Thompson, Gwen Stacy, Betty Brant, Aunt May, Liz Allen, and more, you know. So he actually not only helped in terms of Spider-Man, he actually, with Stan Lee, he created the world, not just the character, the world, the environment, the supporting characters, the main villains, and all of that. See, it just wasn't the character, it was the world that the character lived in that was fully developed and realized. And the character went from high school to graduating to college. And it was just, it's probably one of the most influential runs. And one reason I liked, not only did I like his art style, even though I grew up later and only bought it in the trades and the hardcovers years later, after I was already a comic fan, it was only after a number of years that I decided to get into the research, the history of the characters, and want older stuff. And then when I saw the older stuff, it was just like amazing, simply put. And just like in the art style, and one thing I liked is he actually inked his own work, which most artists back then didn't do, and that he inked the pages himself, so you didn't see an artist's version tarnished by bad inkers or an inker who was doing his own thing. Here you saw the artist doing his own work, and he also inked other people's work occasionally as well sometimes. He was a great inker as well. And you know, his legacy, even though it'll probably be mostly known for Spider-Man, should also be the supporting characters in that world, the main villains, Doctor Strange, the stuff that DC Comics acquired from Charlton, and he did the independent stuff, and he did a lot of stuff that was the pre-Marvel superhero age, like that's being collected in terms of the horror stuff and things like that. And you know what it is? And this is it, people. It made me realize, with the exception of Stan Lee, who's not in good health, unfortunately. He's not been in the past few years, especially since he lost his wife, Joan Lee. Steve Ditko is the last, really, of that 1960s and golden age old guard that created the heroes you know and love or like, and the villains. He's one of the last. And with Stan Lee, that's it. All the other, think about the characters that were made. Superman by Siegel and Schuster. They're gone. Bob Kane, Bill Finger for Batman. H.G. Peter was the artist with William Austin for Wonder Woman. And then you have Jack Kirby, which speaks for itself, from the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Hulk, the Silver Surfer, and the New Gods, and just so many more, just so many. And then you have Daredevil with Bill Everett, who also did the Submariner, excuse that, and Wally Wood. And so you have so much of the old guard, excuse that, that's gone. And now, other than Stan Lee, really, there is not much left. Only later on in the 1970s did, I would say, John Romita help create the Punisher and Wolverine, who are iconic. Other than that, I mean, almost all the other characters are, to a lesser degree, that it's a whole different thing after the 60s into the 70s. To me personally, you can't compare a character quality, the overall quality I'm talking about, of an Iron Fist, for example, to a Batman or a Superman or a Spider-Man. It's a totally different level. It's a totally different category level of quality in terms of character. And there's not too many more, I think, after the 60s, personally, that have really stood out as truly iconic. It's been a very limited number. Wolverine and the Punisher being standouts, I would say. But Steve, he was also a guy who avoided the spotlight. You know, there are people who just want to let their work speak for them, and that's one thing he wanted, was his work speaks for himself. You know, that's the thing, not the person behind the camera, let's say, but letting the work stand out on its own. And it really is quite a legacy, I would say, because it's inspired, whether the people know it or not, who made it or not, the character has inspired generations. You know, it'll be as long as the character's around, it's like a legacy. And how many people have been influenced, how many people's days have been more enjoyable or brighter because he was here and the work he did. And it really was that lightning in a bottle. I hate to say that term, but it's the only thing that fits, because you really cannot expect to make something, whether it be a book, an art piece, or something, a character, to be that massively successful and appealing and embraced, not only by a certain community, but worldwide. You know, and unfortunately, he never really got the compensation he deserved, not even close. He should have been a multi-millionaire easy. He should have got some part of residuals or ownership. But again, just like the other creators, Golden and Silver Age, who made the best heroes, they never got their worth financially. Most all of them. And it stinks, but that's the way it was, the system then. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, that's just the way it was, and it sucks that it turned out that way. And he didn't even want compensation from what I heard in terms of his philosophy or views or whatever, but still, he deserved it. And so that's the news, and that's my thoughts. It was not only a creator, it was someone who built the character and his world, and he built worlds, and it was just fantastic stuff. And you have the physical books in print and reprint, and when you pick it up, I'd always find out, if you study it, new ideas or things you didn't notice, and things like that. So that's my thoughts on it. Sad week, I guess, for comics. Truly one of the few legends left in comic books. And I guess that's all I gotta say. And subscribe, and thanks for watching.